Hello, welcome to New Meta Podcast, episode 76. I am Stan, aka the Magic T. With me, Marco Taco. How are you? How are you doing?
Yo, doing very well.
How's your week been? Been up to much in the Dotaverse or the Lifeverse?
Oh man, the Dotaverse killed me a couple of days ago. Again, the games have been a bit sparse, but holy moly, 2 games killed me. I think, yeah, Adam was in one of them when we got morphed. Maybe this is the time to vent. Holy shit.
It's a good story.
The context is... So it's a bit of a Smurfy game. I feel like when we party, me, you, Adam, we get loads of Smurfs. But me and Stan, we never really come across Smurfs, me and Stan, I feel. I don't know, bit of NA spice in there, just screws up matchmaking.
I've had a lot of problems with 3 stacks. I think it might be a 3-stack thing.
For me, it just seems like party unranked is just full of Smurfs.
Well, that too.
It's because you need 100 hours in-game. So if you make a new account now, you're just in unranked forever. Previously, unranked accounts would never get to, like, Divine 5 MMR. Say we all played a party together, our average MMR is going to be, like, Divine 4 or something, I guess. Previously, no one would ever get to that unranked MMR before they'd be allowed to play. Before they'd be allowed to play ranked, yeah, and also because everyone's playing turbo, yeah. Whereas now you need like 100 games, over 100 games, so people play 40, get their MMR, unranked MMR, inflated up to divine level, and then suddenly they're in divine unranked pubs. It's kind of weird.
On like level 6, 8 accounts.
Yeah. But it's definitely way smurfier now. My unranked games, especially in parties, are way new account smurf sort of thing.
But they've meant to have been getting rid of a lot of toxic accounts.
Banways, yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard to tell.
I got the golden message today. We've recently taken action against one of people you've reported or something. That feels good.
Feels bad for me. Slapping me with a mute. But yeah, in the game we played, so they had some like Smurfy players. I was having a decent game on Void, and before the game started, I had in my mind that I want to build Battle Fury, and so I'm playing Void and the lane's going really well. 10 minutes in, game's going well. I'm feeling this Battle Fury, really am. So then about 10 minutes on the dot, I don't know, I always buy Perseverance first, but I was kind of feeling like, okay, let's just greed maximization. I'm going to hit harder, going to buy my Demon Edge first, buy it. About 10 seconds later, the enemy morphs brown boots E-Blade reveal happens. I'm like, oh fuck. This is hands down not the game you build Battle Fury when this is what you're up against. And what's really frustrating, I thought about it like in the middle of the night kind of thing, was that if I just built Perseverance as my first item of the Battle Fury, I could have segued into a Lincoln's first item and just not died 5 times in a row to his combo. But instead,
spicy play would have been Lotus Orb.
Or Lotus Orb.
Is that even building the Lotus Orb anymore?
Well, you need... I'm not sure, but Lotus is... Yeah. The active doesn't have 100% uptime, does it? So
no, but if you pop the
it's
active...
still pretty strong.
Yeah. Morph could suicide, which would be pretty sick. I'd love to see that. But
yeah, he hits you with the E-Blade, then you dispel it, and you return the shotgun.
Well, couldn't you bounce both back?
That to strike.
You don't reflect.
You still get hit by it, don't you?
Yes.
You'd still die. It's just Morph would die.
It's like a better blade mail.
Yeah, better blade mail. I was thinking of the anti-mage E spell, which would reflect. But anyway, so the decision to not get Perseverance and force me into Battle Fury was just really crucifying. But then it was the most AIDS game, and I think about it again in the middle of the night. I actually just got full griefed. I got griefed so hard that game by our Tinker Pango. I honestly feel like I couldn't have been griefed more. I would go to a lane, I would waddle to a lane, do a little bit of a time walk jump. I'm going to farm this lane, then the next creep wave, and then the nearby jungle creep. Pango would just follow me, blink, swashbuckle to the creep, nuke them before I arrive. Tinker would then BOTs for the next creep wave I'm walking to. You couldn't grief me more the way those two players played. They were that disgracefully bad.
This Pango was like, yeah. I mean, you talk about honestly, your itemization. It's like there's a Pango with Rolling Thunder, obviously incredibly good lockdown against a hero like Morphling. And it's like, what's the playstyle and item build this Pango should go when we're just trying to contain a 12-minute E-Blade, Brown Boot, and Morph, whatever it is. And it's like, oh, I know, let's just AFK farm like Maelstrom Diffusal and just play position 1 and
it was
steal your
creeps. Decision 1. I can't stress enough how he literally would just walk to where I was going to farm and nuke the wave and leave. I was just gobsmacked for about 30 minutes, just in utter disbelief that this was going on. And then it's a Tinker as well, this elusive BOT's shove lanes out kind of hero. And I'd walk to a wave, and he'd just start TPing in, and I'm like, what? How is this happening? I've got a Demon Edge, and they've got E-Blade Morph, and I've got no creeps to hit. Oh, man, it was... Yeah. Brain was out my ears.
You also leave out your 5-position Razor that was on your team that I randomed and played.
Yeah, I mean, I do backwards to win with these weird picks.
So the whole reason why it didn't work out is because the Pango from the draft was like, give me solo. And so I gave him solo lane, so we tri-laned. And I didn't realize giving Pango solo meant Morphling would get a 10-minute E-Blade. Otherwise, I would have just stood up there and like tried to make it a little bit harder.
I can't remember what hero I was playing, but I was playing support.
You were AA.
Oh, it was AA.
So we had decent heroes.
We had AA on me, obviously, is excellent against Morphling. We did blow Morph up a few times.
Yeah.
What I would say about that game, from my perspective as an AA, is the whole of our jungle would be black, and they'd be warded up there. And someone's just been blown up by Morph in the area, one shot. And it's like, I really need to get vision up a high ground anywhere on the map. And I just waddle up a high ground, get instant blown up by Morph, and it's like, well, so much for trying to get vision up that high ground. We felt like we were trapped in the lanes. Any staircase was just a no-go area, because you knew if Morph was up there, you're just getting one shot.
Well, yeah, we were trapped because our 1.5 global heroes of Tinker and Pango just refused to do any sort of smart creep pushing, farming across the map kind of plays. Instead, just played like they were this position 1 with a Demon Edge.
Any hero movements that could be considered tempo from the Pango, it was just like camp to wave, and it's like you actually need to just walk ahead or stand in front of or stand around heroes, make moves, use your use spells. You know,
it's like the thing. If I'm Radiant trying to farm bottom, I need to know where the enemy team is, or else they'll just, like you say, they're going to camp our woods. But if there's a Pango on our team, like at the enemy tier 2 off lane, or the complete
standing up the ramp or anything,
opposite side of the map, if he can drag heroes to him, drag them to defend the creep wave, if you just get a glimpse of the morph at the enemy's safe tier 2, I can then farm my safe tier 2 across the map, and it's like that info is what you need to enable your carry to farm.
So anyway, that was one of 2 games that destroyed your soul.
Yeah, that destroyed my soul. Then the next one that destroyed my soul was the solo ranked. I'm feeling it, Ricky. I'm feeling it. It's going a bit iffy. And then literally just 2 moments in the game blow it up. We already have a bit of toxicity about, this mid laners and account buyer doing crap, dying to Shadow Fiend, whatever. It's fine. We can win games of Dota. The enemy did this push 4 heroes. They were just knocking on our tier 1 top. We've got an AA flying a big AA ult in. I'm lurking in the trees, doing well. 10 minutes in, I'm like, Mars, let's go. TP in, big AA ult. I'll clean up the sports and 2-hits. We'll clean up the jug that rotated. Let's go. Mike, type in everything, and he just doesn't respond. So I'm like, okay, this is really bad decision making. I think I then die. This is really bad. And then they just keep going to our tier 2. This is now 10 minutes, 30 seconds into the game, and I'm like, all right, guys, let's defend our tier 2 maybe. Like, we've got an AA ult nearly back. We've got a Mars ult. We've got Lena. Like, let's go. Tier 2 defense. 10 minutes in is pretty reasonable suggestion. Again, the Mars is completely blanking. No. Earth Spirit's then getting whiny. Lena's literally not moving. I think I die again, waiting to do this T2 tower hold. And then Mars just deletes his items, 0-2-0, Lena 0-2-0, everyone just goes fountain. It's 15 minutes over. Oh, this is the one game of Dota I play that's ranked in the whole week.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then you tab onto WhatsApp or whatever.
Fuck me, that was honestly so demoralizing.
Yeah, feels bad.
That's my wine out of the way. Cheers for listening.
That's okay. I'm sure the listeners were with you every step of the way through that horrific story.
Yeah, means a lot.
Adam, welcome to the pod. 10 minutes
Hello.
in, welcome. How are you? How have your games been? How's your week been?
It's been all right.
How close?
Probably about 50% on the games. I got up to like 2 games away from Divine 5, and now I'm just treading water. I had a game where I was the only non-immortal in the game. I had like a rank 300 on my team. And it seems like the higher rank I get, the less mental fortitude the team has, the players have.
Right.
I had a guy last pick a Drow against Silencer and Slardar, and then when we like kind of started to get aggressed upon and he died a couple times, he jungled his Drow at level 3 and he called me racial slurs, yelled it into the mic, called me autistic, and then he gave up and farmed the jungle the rest of the game. And we still almost won. We were like 10k ahead with this guy not doing anything. And then we had a 4-position Wyvern, and I was Snapfire. And he had already had 2 or 3 iffy kind of ults where like I was already hitting people with the Mortimer's Kisses, and he would ult them, and then I wouldn't do any damage. And the Meepo was kind of getting a little bit triggered, and we were already like 2 racks up, but we had no buybacks, and the Meepo got a Hex, and no one had seen the Hex yet. And so this was our big like Hex reveal. We're going to just win a fight, take the megas, and win the game. And the Meepo on the mic was like, Wyvern, do not cast any spells. Do not press any buttons. I'm going to smoke. I'm going to blink Hex in. I'm going to, kill their team. Do not press any buttons. And what you think is going to happen happened. He blinks in, he hexes the target, and then the Wyvern blinks in and ults, and then the Meepo dies twice. He has Aegis, he dies twice, and then we all just kind of we lost the game from there. But it takes 2 minutes for them to push out the waves, and kill your base. So the whole 2 minutes is just like everyone just like mad into the mic, like, I told you, like, not to press any spells. And the guy's like, rank 1500 games are so terrible. No one can do anything. Right. And then I'm just like, I'm Divine 4. Like, I'm not even ranked 1500. But it was nice to see, it was nice that I wasn't the one that did it. It was sad though, because I'd already kind of, it was weird. It was a really weird game. You have your carry give up and start jungling, and then you think, okay, the game's over. But then their other 4 heroes get a 10k lead on their own, and then you're like, oh, I'm actually going to win this game that was unwinnable. And then you throw it away, and it's like, well, that's just kind of how it goes, I guess. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Adam living the high life, getting ranked 300 players in his ranked games. Legit pod member.
You would... So here's why I think 3 stacks are weird is I'll play with my friend Saul. He's Divine 3, and then he'll invite somebody, and it'll be like a legend player. And we'll play as a 2-stack, and it'll be fine. Then we play as a 3-stack with a legend player, and we get rank 70 people on the other team. And they just pick Lone Druid, and then you just lose in 20 minutes. And then we queue again with another legend person even lower, and we got Boris on our team, who's on Demon Slayers. He was playing in the qualifier, and he goes mid IO, and then we just win. It's why he's rank 130, and it's why is this a thing? I
don't know, man. The mystery of Valve, 3-stack legend players. To be fair, if there's one thing we've learned in our games, in our party games, is that there's nothing scarier than the legend lion. Enemy legend lion pos 5 or enemy legend CM pos 5. That's actually, I'd rather have that than an immortal offlane Mars like what Marco had in his game, or an Immortal Drow in Adam's game. I'd rather just have a Pos 5 Legend Lion player for sure. In terms of my games, I'll keep it brief. Couple of observations though. I played a TA game today against Lena. Last pick TA against Lena, which is good. But I actually feel really comfortable playing that lane from Lena's perspective, and this lane kind of went even. But it's meant to be this really TA favoured lane. I just don't see...
TA Lena?
TA Lena's meant to be really TA favoured.
I don't get that.
But in pro games, they're always like, oh, they picked Lena here, and the enemies have last pick. Like, oh, they'll pick blah blah his TA here or whatever. You know, like, oh, they'll pick Abed as TA here because it's a great matchup against the Lena. It's like, is it? I think what I would say is it's a great matchup in the game. Yeah, it's definitely fine.
I think the better player wins.
I feel like it's easy for Lena to just cubes and nuke the wave down, and TA is then just.
I'm not even thinking that. I think it comes down to Psyblades, which is a classic TA thing. If you're really good at Psyblades, you'll win that matchup for sure.
I think you farm trade, but I think the kill potential is in Lena's. Like Lena can kill. I don't think TA can kill unless you Psyblade.
Unless you get level 6? Before 6, yeah. When you get 6, like if you get a trap on them, they're probably going to die.
Yeah.
Before that is Lena. I do agree. Obviously, I'm a better Lena player than I am a TA player, so that's obviously why I'm more comfortable playing that matchup from Lena. And it's just nuking down the refraction quickly with Fiery Souls, and then it's like it feels like you can bully TA quite a bit. But conversely, if you get Psybladed with refraction a few times, that's so painful for Lena, obviously. So yeah, that was one observation. And the other, I ended up winning that TA game, which is a big pog because any TA game feels like double for a win. And then I just lost a game as Lena, actually, which is funny given what I've just said. But this, I think, is a classic pub Dota mentality issue that's just wrong and born from a poor understanding of how Dota works. We had a carry. First of all, this game was weird because it's ranked roles and our hard support players DC'd for the whole pick phase. So usually the player that picks first is hard support. He's DC'd, so he can't. So we all have to pick our heroes before. And in the second phase, we pick a Medusa, position 1. I've already picked Lena. I second picked Lena because, either our offlane didn't want to pick, wanted to wait for this person to reconnect. I was like, it's not going to happen. I'll just pick Lena, whatever, it's fine. Pick a Medusa when they still have 1 or 2 picks left. Maybe just 1. Can't remember. No, they have 2 picks. They pick counter heroes. They pick a Razor. They pick an OD. Both pretty good against Medusa, I'd say. And then our Pos 5 reconnects picks a CM, whatever. We played the game, and the Medusa played the game as if Medusa, just because the hero has the name in Medusa, is by necessity the strongest, hardest carry in the game. And if we take this to 50 minutes, we'll win. Because we have Medusa. With no thought for what the other heroes in the game are. Like, there's an enemy OD that just outscales Medusa in the matchup. Like, late game versus late game, you'd rather have an OD versus a Medusa because of the way the heroes interact. Similar to Razor, another hero that scales well. They also had a Pudge, infinite scaling, smiley face. Pudge is a hero that scales amazingly. So, I'm on a Lena, not exactly a hero that does scale amazingly. Like, I itemized for BKB, Daedalus and stuff, but still not compared to an OD. And the rest of the heroes don't matter too much. And I thought it was really interesting because we could have won the game, I feel, really easily if we'd pushed more in the mid game because we were ahead. We were like 5k ahead. We have a Legion Commander, obviously a save for Medusa. They're not farmed. OD's not that farmed. He has like Kaya, Blink, 4-staff or something. Medusa's very farmed, has Manta Skadi. We've got a Lena, like I'm at the peak of my powers. Sort of heroes don't really have BKBs. I've picked up an early BKB. I'm a Lena, I've got yours, I can set up for kills. If we push, we win the game, but our Medusa, because of he gets distracted by the fact that he's playing a hero called Medusa and all of the thoughts that are associated with Medusa as this super late game ultra carry, no matter what. It's like, no, just play passive, go back, let me farm Butterfly. Literally typing, let me farm Butterfly when he's 3k away from it. And it's I don't know, I just thought it reminded, is this an interesting mentality breakdown, I feel? Because we genuinely could have gone high ground, but...
Yeah, I'm looking at your game in Dota, and you can see DotA pick up Scardy about 28 minutes. Manta Scardy, 28 minutes.
Yeah. Stone Gaze and an LC save. It's like they can't do anything.
Yeah.
If they try anything, we just counter initiate.
You've got a BKB just picked up, so that's fresh. OD's got Ag's Blink at the same time. It's like,
quite different. Not exactly offensive.
Yeah, it's not that offensive. There's not even a BKB on Razor at this point in the game. I do agree. Yeah, just you run down, make a fight happen, put pressure on the enemy team.
Was he not seeing the Medusa 25-minute Manta rapier in the game? Like,
yeah, I mean that is
she's
how
one
you
of the
play
strongest timing heroes.
Yeah, definitely. And you see, you guys already know Medusa's a timing hero, and that timing doesn't have to be, I'll just AFK farm until I'm 6-slotted.
Level 30.
That doesn't have to be the timing. You know, like use your brain and assess the game state rather than just being blinded by the fact that you have a hero that in your head is always going to be the hardest carry in the game. And what ended up happening is OD got Hex later in the game, and that really sort of turned the game a lot. We still could have won, no doubt. I mean, it's a pub game of Dota. It's like a 4K pub game of Dota. We could have easily won. Like, the enemy team will make gaffes. But the game gets incredibly harder when Razor has a BKB, like Marco was talking about earlier. He didn't earlier.
Yeah,
suddenly OD has Blink Hex. It's like, I get blown up instantly in Blink Hex duration from an OD. And suddenly the game's like really hard, you know?
I think your supports as well. You've got a Windrunner 4.
Which was not a hero in this
it's
game.
I don't think it's not a good late game for if it doesn't have gold, and this Windrunner had really not great net worth. So that's literally offering just kind of a shackle shot, maybe, if there aren't BKBs. Same with CM. If you go really late, BKBs will stop it. You're not that good of a maiden. Whereas a Bane on the enemy team, it's got that Fiend's Grip, very strong. They had a Shadow Shaman, it seems, blinking around, a bit more impact maybe. But yeah. You can't go late on your lineup. For sure. And I feel like it's a really common downfall of carries in like the Ancient. I feel like Ancient predominantly, that 4K bracket, I feel like position 1s can hit creep fine. Like, well, you can hit creep decent, get some gold decent, but then the decision making just makes them be a 4K. I feel like I think that's one of the biggest stepping stones. Honestly, like, when do you then stop, and like what timing do you go? Do you TP or do you keep farming? Like,
definitely.
I feel like I've seen it so much in party stacks.
Yeah, no, I agree. You've literally just described this game. I mean, this Medusa it was to the point where we got a tier 2 bottom with DotA. We got tier 2 bottom, and we could have just gone high ground. We could have just kept going and gone high ground. But Medusa's like TPs away and like pings that he's 2.5k away from butter, and he's like, no rush, just play safe. It's like, it's not going to end up well for us, and it didn't. So anyway, that was a couple of observations, and that Medusa observation is one I think that's really appropriate for people playing pubs. Topic that we've got lined up for today, bit of an impromptu one, really. We had a lot of options, but I think position 4 is a position that is worthy of discussion at the moment, with some of the heroes that are on their way in and on their way out. Just watching qualifiers for the LA Major, which, especially in the EU region, are so stacked, it's like unbelievable. It could have been a tier 1 tournament, genuinely. I mean, have you guys seen the minor qualifiers for EU? It's like Team Liquid, Alliance, Nigma. It genuinely could be a close calls. It's like insane, yeah.
Go Nip.
Nip actually got in. That's huge.
Yeah, sick.
And aggressive mode, this stack actually did well. Aggressive mode came 4th or something in the close quals, ahead of Alliance and Team Liquid and Nigma and all that. Yeah,
wow, that's Tanner on Nip going to a major. Second major.
Going to a major, yeah. UK Dota, the POG. Actual UK core player at a major. Very exciting. Yeah. But it's so grim being in EU for teams like Alliance and Liquid and Nigma. Now that OG are in the pool, it's like suddenly there's a tier 1 team in the pool that wasn't in the pool before. It makes it so much harder to get to tournaments. But I feel like a decent amount of action in POS 4. Snap obviously is back, but do you guys think Snap's a 5 or a 4 really? Before we go any further, I feel like
either
5.
I think it's better as a 5, but it can do either.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think the fact that it can do either so easily is another reason why it's going to be super strong. Because 5s, what made them good is just pure spell usage, and Snap spells are so good she could be a 5. But then I feel like the 4 is really strong as well, because if you can have a Snap with a Greaves in the mix of a fight and can farm with a Scattershot business, that's also omega strong. So I fucking hate 5. Too good hero.
POS 4s then that we've seen. Nyx, I think, is a hero that's shown up a little bit. Recently, Clockwork, another hero that we've seen a fair bit. Beyond that, any others that have caught your attention recently, POS 4s?
I think Shaker's back.
Shaker. It is, you're right. It's been showing up a fair bit.
So I feel like its pick rate in these tournaments has definitely stepped up a notch versus, say, the last major. And I think that's cool to see.
Is AA getting picked as a 4? Or as a 5?
No, it's a 5 mostly, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's interesting to see Shaker back. I was speaking to Stan. I think was Adam there? I feel like it's because the game state has slowed down a little bit relative to when you had A, shrines, and B, crazy early outposts and loads of outposts, etc. I feel like Shaker doesn't do that well in those settings because what makes it strong is it's this setup hero. You do some body block with your fissure, or you do this stun initiation and you get one kill. Or you've got your Echo Slam, long cooldown, big spell. But I don't think it's a hero that's really great to just run around, kill. It's not like a Tiny. It couldn't stand up to a Tiny in that regard, but it's better than a Tiny because in a slower paced game, the control that a Shaker can bring is far better. So that's why can work as a 4, and I think why it is being seen more now. The game isn't as Dota 3. That's the way I feel like it's coming back.
What would you say if I said that perhaps it's actually because Shaker hits a timing with its blink, obviously before it needs to farm blink. So I do think the game is a little bit slower, maybe, and more stale perhaps in laning and immediate post laning. Whereas I do think that after that initial post, say 15 minutes, where Shaker might pick up his blink, possible Shaker say, that 15 to 25 minute mark is where games are won and lost. And I think that is when Shaker's at its absolute peak, when it first picks up blink. And part of the reason I'm saying that is just going through these playoff games for the EU quals, game duration. So 31 minute, 31 minute, 32 minutes, 22 minutes, 32 minutes, 26 minutes, 30 minutes, 26 minutes. So it's like all the games are happening between that 15 to 25. They're being decided, and Shaker is really, that's almost like his peak. Whereas Tiny's peak, you could almost say, is like 5 to 10 almost.
Yes.
Maybe not 5 to 10, but 10 to 15, say.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, actually, about the blink. I feel like I have noticed a lot of rushed blink daggers. I was watching the...
You don't see the Ags anymore, do you? You don't see rushed Ags. It's too slow. Ags.
Often it's just Trank's blink, and I don't know if you've seen the Grant highlights. It's so funny when he's casting crit, and he's like, critical strike, when he gets this big blink echo plays. But yeah, I feel like I've seen a lot of rushed blinks, because you're right, 15 to 25, Shaker, the blink dagger makes him excel, and I feel like a Shaker with blink will do more, or can do more impact on a game than a Tiny with blink in that same 15 to 25 period, because in that period it's your blink enchants, blink catches, you got 2 sets of stuns, so that you got a bit more control than a, say, blink Tiny would have, which then enables you to snowball with your other heroes in that 15-25 period. But yeah, the 0 to 15 maybe is a bit slower, and can be a bit slower because of the meta and the objectives being different, whatever. such that he can farm it and then have big impact.
Another interesting consideration would be that when you just to really beat this comparison to death, the Tiny versus the Earthshaker. Tiny's obviously a better pick-off hero than Earthshaker, like one hero burst, but Earthshaker's more team fight orientated. So I feel like maybe there's maybe a bit of TI hangover. I don't know if I read a bit too much into this, but I do think teams are more willing to go monkey business mode from the 15 to 25 minute mark. And that's when a hero like Earthshaker is even better than if it's just one team going monkey mode versus the other team trying to farm. Then a hero like Tiny can be excellent for getting individual pickoffs, individual blows. But when it's like 5 heroes running to go monkey business, and teams they've watched True Sight, they know the meta, which I think is still quite similar just based off the times these games are ending, and they're more willing to go like head to head in that time period and have team fights and stuff.
When there's a fight, everyone comes.
Yeah, because they know that if you don't do that in this meta game, and I'd say for the last year, honestly, if you don't do that, you can get run over really easily. So I feel like teams are much more willing to like butt heads in that critical post-laning stage time when everyone's going crazy.
Yeah.
And then you're getting crazy value out of the Earthshaker. Fisher, Echo Slam, those are huge teamfight spells. They really are. So
yeah, and I feel like that's true. But I feel like the gap between these big skirmishes is long enough for Echo to always be relevant, as opposed to, say, OG at TI, where that mid-game period is literally kill, 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 kill. I feel like a lot of the pro highlights I've seen it would be big head clash skirmish, 15 minutes, but then there's a bit more longer reset time, bit more farm, and then another big clash, and then a bit more farm. And I feel like that slightly slower pace, but still, yeah, skirmish value from these blink control favors a shaker.
Pivoting to a different hero then, Nyx Assassin, which is another hero that I think's back. Adam, you've listened to me and Marco talk about reasons why Earthshaker might be coming back. Nyx is kind of a completely different position 4, really, in how he wants to play. You wouldn't think of Nyx as a big team fight hero, 15 to 25 minutes or would you? I don't really know. I'm not a Nyx player. What do you think about Nyx at the moment? Is he good in your mind, or?
You think I'm a Nyx player?
More than me, honestly, I feel like. You can talk about Earthshaker if you want. I was just trying to...
I have nothing to add on Earthshaker. Yeah, Nyx is a sneaky boy. So, great vision, because you can scout out, and then now that you can... it's been this way for a while, but you can spike Carapace while you're still in the ult, so you can always stun people with if they have AoE abilities while they're farming. They get stunned out of nowhere. Since they changed gold talents being gone, he gets a plus 0.3 second impale stun at level 10, which makes his max impale stun for 3.1 seconds, which is huge on a Q ability on a 14 second cooldown. That's a ton of stun. And then that lines up with Meteor Hammer.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to worry about the Meteor Hammer channel time. You just stun into stun, and Vendetta's pure damage now, so it's just like a 250 damage nuke out of Invis. Yeah, I think Nyx is really strong. I played a game where I was Snapfire and he was 4, and the enemy would have like a Void Spirit, someone you would think is like really hard to kill. All of a sudden, Nyx stuns out of Invis, and then from 3,000 away, a bunch of napalms land on him, a bunch of Mortimer's Kisses, and he's dead. Like 100 to 0, full chain stun, and 2 heroes that were not even in vision. So I think that is very strong. Someone that's easy to play around, pretty high kill potential.
I'm not sure why we're not respecting my veteran Nyx record of the second to last game of Nyx was with Cinder and Pog.
When you said you were playing your rank, that's pretty high praise to be playing your rank. I was 6k gamer, so you're a 6k Nyx according to Syndrome.
God, yeah, that's impressive. Nyx is about fucking dog tier. Nah, it's respectable. But I think what I'd add, I feel like Nyx brings a shaker flavor. I feel like in a team fight, Nyx, the fact he's got 2 disables that can disable multiple heroes, the carapace and the stun, is what's making him really good in these head-on-head clashes that are so typical in that mid-game period. 3.1 second stun, boy, that's long. And then the carapace is such a good spell. There's so many AoE abilities these days that it's always going to be value, really. Ravage God, yeah. And it can also play that pos 4 rotate to the mid and get a gank with your Impale kind of thing as well. And then Vision is relatively high value at the highest level. So I feel like it's always been a respected pos 4 hero. And maybe now it's just the style of games are suiting the Nyx a little bit more, that teams now fancy it.
I also think, to add to that, the hero has been buffed like quite nicely. So in 7.23, 10 movement speed for a hero like Nyx, that's huge. Going to 315, that's like very fast for a hero that provides vision and wants to be scuttling around. Catching heroes from fog and stuff like that is obviously massive. And like Adam mentioned, this Impale stun plus 0.3 seconds, it means that with Meteor Hammer, which is now the nailed-on build every game.
Yeah.
So you go Brown Boots Meteor Hammer, and it means that you Impale, you instantly start casting Meteor Hammer, and it's a guaranteed Meteor Hammer. So if you have Meteor Hammer, I guess that... how long is the stun from Meteor Hammer? I actually don't know.
It's 2.5.
2.5, so...
Or 2 second. 2.5 channel for a 2 second stun.
Okay, so if you've got the Meteor Hammer follow-up, so it's 3.1 plus 2, so it's guaranteed 5 seconds of stun on a hero if you get both of those things off. That's insane.
And then the Carapace is 2.5 seconds too. Carapace, you're like the stun god.
Yeah, for sure. And Meteor Hammer as an item has been low-key buffed a lot because the hero's kind of underwhelming apart from in some weird situations like you've got a tree or something. So the item's been buffed. It's now an insane item on this Nyx. These are all great things. Spike Carapace, like you guys said, has always been good, and so there's always going to be games where Nyx is good. They only need to pick a Batrider. Suddenly Nyx is amazing, or a Radiant hero,
you're the OD killer, right? You hug an Astral Creep, Spike Carapace, he's stunned, and then Mana Burn turns off an OD late game. You're hitting him casually for 500 damage every 4 seconds.
Yeah, so I do think the hero is just good. The hero is just in a relatively good place right now. Yeah. I don't know if we'll see it trickle into pubs. I feel like it's a little bit harder to make work in pubs, whereas in pro games, it's a hero that I feel fits an ideology about a game.
Yeah.
Any team can be like, we want to be doing this, and Nyx fits that perfectly.
We want to be playing aggressively. And, it's kind of like a IO in a certain way. It's good with IO. I mean, to set up these global ganks that like come out of nowhere. He's really good with AA. It's like really strong to coordinate with, just because you provide so much stun setup that someone can relocate in, or they can channel a full Mortimer's Kisses, or they can shoot the Ice Blast from far away. It's just like people feel like they're safe, and then all of a sudden they're just dead, 100-0 out of nowhere.
I feel like it's a hero's, like you mentioned, IO, an invis roaming hero like Nyx that wants to get information or maybe wants to make plays that no one else is really aware of. I feel like benefits so much from coordination like an IO would, and therefore that's why the pro teams can utilize it so well. But I feel like in a pub it is a bit harder to be like, I'm a Nyx going to be doing these like strategic plays, but when no one else is on the same page, your movements could just be kind of wasteful or not really work, or your team doesn't link up how you need them to. So that's why I feel like it does struggle in the pub a little bit.
He's not Nyx Dagon solo kill bro anymore.
No. I think what you say about the talent, 0.3 seconds to make it 3.1, I feel like that is the nudge that was needed to make this hero now picked. I feel like, everyone knows it's a strong hero, but now with that combination to the Meteor Hammer, which everyone rushes, now you can be kind of guarantee if you stun someone, your Meteor Hammer will land on them, because Without that talent,
they can't be KB. There's no
they can't be KB. Often they can just they can get pushed out the way, or they can get a spell off like Rage before the Meteor Hammer lands on them, because there is a bit of delay for the Meteor to land on top of someone. So it was always that bit too unreliable. But now,
you need the extra time, I think, solely for the landing animation, because otherwise someone can waddle out, but you can
force stuff out easy.
It's probably about 3 seconds, maybe, with the 2.5 second channel and the fall. Maybe it's like a 0.3 second fall or something.
It says effect delay 0.5.
Yeah, so it's like a
channel 2.5, to make it 3.
So it's like a full 3 second. Yeah, so you need the 3.1.
Yeah.
So honestly, I feel like that difference has pushed this hero into it now can work just from that.
How does this hero...
Don't sleep on the pure damage on the ult now, too.
That's nice.
That's a lot. Now. And, the break's solid, but, instead of being 250 physical damage, it's 250 pure. That scales up to 500 pure. That's a lot.
A couple of questions I was going to pose about Nyx. Firstly, it's obviously a very disruptive hero, which I think is going to be great for a meta like this, where it's skirmishes happen, and especially when they're more coordinated skirmishes now. Like we said, heroes are happy to turn up in this mid-game period for big fights. Being able to disrupt with Spike Carapace and Impale is obviously huge. But the question I was going to ask is how well does this hero lane? Because when I think of Nyx, I don't think of it as a strong laner as a position 4. Do you think that also helps the hero in the sense that I do really feel like this is a carries meta, and in the pro games, carries are getting free farm very often, and the off lane's kind of sacked. So does that allow a hero like Nyx that's a bit of a weaker laner to come in?
The way I've seen EG pull it off is that they'd pair the Nyx with a strong off laner, and so I've seen them pet lane Ench, Ramses, crit, Nyx, and what the Nyx did for the first 5 minutes...
like a kill lane.
They got a kill or two, but their intention wasn't to get kills. It was Nyx is just going to sit and be a presence, and it's not going to waste its mana and its stuns trying to get kills, which I don't really think a Nyx can really bring. But what it did, it was just, I'm going to secure Ench farm golden XP. When that hero now gets really decently strong, and I've given Ench more XP and I've just been around the area, he then rotated mid and secured mid with a gank and left the sufficiently strong Ench to do its own thing. And I feel like a Nyx is like that. I don't really think it's a kill potential 4, but I think it's just there to be a presence and to help secure the lane.
Just and treat it like a lion in lane. Use the impale to secure range creeps.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, what you just said, Marco, because that's borne out by... I've just gone through some of these qualifier games where a Nyx has shown up. OG have picked it in this game with a mid one off-lane Ench, so same idea. The other game that they've picked it's with a Darkseer, same idea. This here, Darkseer with Iron Shell is just going to get his farm and doesn't really need some aggressive bully position 4.
Yeah, so, all the Nyx needs to do is impale defensively. If Darkseer or Ench is going to get gone on, just impale and disengage and just keep your guys safe. I think that's all it wants to provide, and then it can rotate once the off lane is sufficiently strong. And one thing the pros do well, a good pulse 4 doesn't die, and that really helps your farm, because every time you die and you'd say trickling away a couple hundred gold, that really starts to delay your first item timing. And how we see first item blink, and Nyx's first item Meteor Hammer, that first item for the 4 seems really important these days. And not dying's a big one of that, but it can then just rotate, and at 6 can help get kills. And I feel like it's now this more classic 4, really, how it's kind of not slowly but quietly roaming around, setting up a kill or protecting one of the lanes, kind of
being disruptive with stuns.
Disruptive with stuns, saving people a little bit. Feels like kind of
vision is
defensive.
Nice.
Vision's nice, and just play it a bit slow. You're not trying to force anything. As say a Nyx, you might think you need to force a kill because you're this assassin, but You don't. You just need to let those mid off laner get a bit chunky. When a kill appears, just get it.
He's got assassin in his name.
Yeah. I feel like I've played 4s and played it badly because I've been trying to force the issue too much and been like, oh, I'm a 4. We're going to get loads of kills in the lane. And I think there will have been metas where that is the case. Not that long ago. In the past, we know that's been the case. But I feel like a good 4, often the role does just need to be a bit passive and a bit defensive and just secure that gold XP and wait for that opening, wait for that TP rotation.
Nothing wrong with slowing down and making sure you hit a jungle camp here or there, or take a lane that's been left by a core to ensure that you get a little bit of XP and some gold.
You want that? Yeah.
You don't be waddling around like the entire time, be level 4, just like, I'm ganking, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. It's like, no, we want you to be level 8. You know, rather you be 0-0-0 and be level 8 and have something than be like 1-2 and 2 and have no XP because you just walk in the river for 5 minutes back and forth.
Often the mid will be one where you will open up for you in around, say, 8-10 minutes into the game. Very likely that would open up.
Sometimes a safe lane opens up as well.
Yeah, your mid or your safe lane. A lot of cleavers, a lot of junglers now can just cycle through the jungle.
What was I going to say about Nyx? Oh yeah, that was it. What you guys are saying is so true also, especially the initial post-laning phase. Like, pubs aren't the same as pro games. But in pro games, the way you see the Nyx played is more passively until that first item. Because like we've just said at the start, when we started talking about POS 4s, the game seems to be decided between 15 minutes and 30, or even 15 and 25. So before that mark, you don't have to be forcing things. It's much better, like Adam said, to get levels, to get Meteor Hammer, specifically on Nyx, or Blink Dagger, if you're playing an Earthshaker or whatever. And then you're at max strength for that 15-minute mid-game, fluid, let's decide the game. Obviously, pubs are a little different, but that should still be on your mind, I suppose, when you think about Nyx as a hero. Because it doesn't farm well. It's not as though, when you say play passive, it's like, yes, but not to the point where you're like trying to farm beyond Meteor Hammer. It's like, sure, you get Meteor, then you play with your team, then you, again, not forcing things, like you never want to force things, but you also don't want to be like, oh, I'll just farm. I know I'm just making that distinction because I think a lot of people think in their head being passive and farming is the same thing. But it's not, obviously. You just mean, when you say play a bit more passive, a bit safe, you just mean don't use Vendetta and walk to the enemy shrine looking for a kill.
Don't
it just
make
means like
your
play
mid,
around.
Don't make your mid and off lane try and get a kill pre 10-15. Just let them chill, let yourself chill. If some dive happens, respond to it and do it, but wait until that Meteor Hammer time is there and everyone else has got their own item to then put your foot down and make that play.
I think definitely, again, I'll just say, before you have that first item, it's fine to take the free lane, even if you have Vendetta off cooldown, like, it's fine. You want to be at max strength for that 15-minute onwards mark. You want to have that big item for then. When you hit level 10, you want to have Meteor Hammer. I mean, that's obviously ambitious, but in theory, you're trying to match up those two things. That's when your hero really power spikes. So if you're like trying to force things with Vendetta and like not quite getting it off, you could have been better taking the free lane, and now you'd have a Meteor Hammer, and now you'd have 5 seconds of guaranteed stun. So just something to think about.
I think something I'm thinking. I feel like it's so these changes to outposts and how they've now been moved into the woods rather than just the side of the map. And then, am I correct in that it's 15 minutes they activate, or is it still 10?
10.
That's when you get the first influx of XP.
So it's still 10.
You can capture them at pre-horn.
But can capture pre-horn. Okay. So I feel like the passivity of games, more so these days, is that it is harder to infiltrate and make a play on outposts because they're now in a more defensive, deep location as opposed to just being in the middle of an off lane where you can TP to the tier 1. So I feel like there's less incentive for teams to be trying to put foot down at the 10-minute mark or the 15-minute mark, because it is a higher risk, same reward play. So now it's more, okay, we shift our focus to get your first item for 15, 20 minutes, and that's when our foot goes down, and that's where the risk is sufficient for the reward.
It's a bit slight tangent, but just on the topic of these shrines, it's really funny now because of the change of location. It's no longer let's make a play to capture their shrine, because, like you say, it's in the middle. So if you just turn up with 5 heroes to make a play to capture the shrine, it's like a dive, and you'll get reacted on, and that's probably going to be bad for you. But at the same time, you definitely see more, or you do see quite a lot of solo heroes just getting a shrine, because it's not quite worth having a big reaction to, say, just a random Nyx, say, waddling through and just, I'll just channel for 5 seconds. I probably very often will get away with it. So it's weird the way that shrines happen in these pro games. Another thing is that it's, like I said, you don't really make a big play like you used to get a shrine. It sort of happens naturally. When one team has map control, they just naturally get a shrine because they're just that's the area that they want to be in anyway. So they just take it. I don't know. It's kind of funny to see how these shrines interact. In some games, you see them taken pre-horn. Teams will just have 2 heroes walk there from the start of the game, and if they're strong enough as a level 1 duo, the enemies won't contest.
Yes. I think two other points as well. One, how in the past Outpost gave this 1.3k flying vision. Controlling them from getting flying vision was a massive benefit. Whereas now, if you control an
700
outpost,
ground,
you don't get any vision basically. So you don't really give it from a strategic point of view. You don't get any vision gain. And then
they're just for TPing.
Yeah, it's just TPing. Second point, when they're now away from the creep lanes, and where the creep are is where all like the economic gain is, you've got an incentive to be in the lane. All right, the outpost is there as well, so you just combo it into this like obvious I want to be here. But when the outpost now is in the middle of the woods, the incentive to be kind of around or playing around that area, it doesn't exist. So people don't give a shit about being around there. So yeah, the way they're integrating the game has definitely changed a lot.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? So if you're playing a support or a core in a side lane, you could just walk to the enemy outpost and take it. No one's going to come to you, like you say, because there's literally no advantage to having that until 10 minutes. And at 10 minutes, the team whose side of the map it's on will just waddle and take it because it's right under their control just because of its location. Probably time for like a short discussion on a final POS 4 hero. Adam, you're a little bit hot on a lesser spotted hero, the Space Cow.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about heroes I don't want to ever be in my games ever again as 4.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I'm down for anything.
This is I know the game is instantly harder after I see the pick. Also, it made me almost want to just solely queue 4 position, just so I don't have to deal with it. As Rubick 4, just don't do it.
We need to do an episode on Rubick 4.
You're not Crit. You're not Yapsor. You're not anybody. You're just an Aether Lens building useless sack. 3rd most picked hero at the qualifiers. So bad. It is so bad.
93 games, 60% win rate.
They don't do anything. They just KS, which is what you're supposed to do to secure farm because you can't flash farm. You provide almost no stun at the relevant stages of the game because you have no levels. And you're entirely reliant on yourself getting a decent spell stolen, which does not happen. And you're made out of paper. And you've gone an Aether Lens instead of a Glimmer Cape or, something movement based. And you always go Blink and not Force Staff because you're going to pull off the godlike plays, but then you can never save anybody and the other team will have a Bat Rider, and you'll get hit with a Flame Break, and then you're dead. That's my experience with every Rubick ever in my games, and it's been happening a lot. I think it's people that just queue all 5 roles so that they can get their tokens again, and they play Rubick 4. And
That's
they first pick
classic. Yeah, Rubick's a classic roll for mid or safe lane. Oh, I lost. Just pick Rubick or punch.
Yeah. And then the other one is Windrunner. You do even less.
Yeah.
Because you have no gold, so your ult is useless. You plink for about 30 a shot. Your most relevant spell is Shackle Shot, which you max last because you want to have fun running around in Wind Run. And the W is good, but it falls off hard. The Power Shot's good early, but then you know, the game gets to 40 minutes and all you have is like a Force Staff because you can't flash farm.
Is this Rubick hate justified, Marco? Thoughts?
It is a little bit justified. I can definitely see why. I've had the thoughts.
Well, see, the other team will have a Force Spirit Breaker that doesn't have to do anything the entire game except run at people, and he'll just run at the Rubick and like solo kill him. Or they'll have a Phoenix, or they'll have a Nyx Assassin, or they'll pick Disruptor or AA or something that can like stun something and do something. And
statistically, you're not wrong. As I'll let you. I asked you a question and then now I'm going to interrupt you. So this is some great hosting from me right now. But statistically, I mean, it's in 26% of games, Divine Plus, 48% win rate, 48.5% win rate. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of griefing. Honestly, the hero's kind of griefing pubs when he's in a quarter of games with 48.5% win rate. It's very poor. Sorry, Marco.
I do feel like you need to have good spells to steal to make this hero justifiable. Otherwise, too often it won't be able to have enough power because, I mean, its ultimate ability is stealing spells. So if you're not getting enough value from your ultimate ability, it's likely your hero's not going to be doing very well. I feel like, it is a bit weak in the lanes. I was going to say,
it's the best because you at least can W and like trade
a little bit.
It's not a dominant laner.
It's not.
No. I'm just saying it's annoying to be against as a carry or as a support, but then it's like the laning stage ends, and then what does it do?
Yeah. I honestly feel like, and this just goes to show that the hero is not in a great place. I honestly feel like the queue has to be good. Like it has to be a good game for instant cast point stun, because that is something that Rubick does have, an instant stun. So I feel like even sometimes when the spells you can steal are good, it's like, yeah, but if you're against loads of tanky heroes, Rubick's just really bad.
Yeah, he's got about 800 health and no armor.
Yeah.
So I mean, he just blows up. I'm talking about like later into the game, he has about 1200 health and like 3 armor. I don't know.
He's very weak, very weak. I mean, he doesn't get much more squishy than Rubick.
He's all about spacing, and it's like most of these heroes just do not care. They just get in your face now. And then Rubick, he can't handle that.
Yeah, there's kind of too much getting in your face these days.
I agree with that.
And I feel like I do think he needs a couple of good spells to steal. I feel like if you get a Dragon Slave on this Rubick and it's levels 4, you are doing immense amount of damage very early in the game from your Supremacy. And just W Dragon Slave does a lot of burst.
And you can farm for days.
But fours, as we've been mentioning, aren't these like farmer... Like a Rubick would love to farm and just shove creep waves for days and even can do woods. But the fours we talk about, they're not really playing that kind of play style. And they're doing more space creation rather than damage dealing, which is what Rubick's most good at with this Arcane Supremacy now. And so you really do need big spells to make this guy justified, but he is fun because you can steal spells, so awkward. I was going to ask, would you rather see a Pods 4 Pudge or a Pods 4 Rubick first picked?
Pudge.
Really? Pods 4 Pudge? Ooh.
Yeah.
That's such a hard question. That's literally, would you rather be hung or drowned?
Hook and Rot can do stuff in a lane at least. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just so off of the Rubick. Like, at least he can be tanky. The Pudge can be tanky later and take more than 2 hits to kill, and then they move on to another target.
What would you rather see, Marco, Pudge or Rubick?
Oh, it's so hard because I feel like I've seen so many lackluster, and I've played so many failed Pos 4 Pudges where it just feels useless and it's not getting any kills, and everyone's just farming, not dying, and you're just, I can't make anything, I can't do anything, and I can't get any gold. It feels terrible.
Jesus Christ, Pudge has a 45% win rate. That's so bad.
It is low. But then you have those...
Maybe Rubick.
You have those games where Pudge then...
just wins the game.
So you're like, oh, but Pudge can win games. But I do think on the whole, I'd rather have Rubick.
Rubick or a Wind Ranger?
I'd rather have Rubick than Wind Ranger, for sure.
Yeah.
Wind Ranger's bottom of that list for Pos 4s. I think Wind Ranger 4 is so useless.
Wind Ranger 4, what's that do against a Slaughter with like 900 HP at level 1, 5 armor? Windrunner's just throwing snowballs.
Yeah, he probably has a Blightstone.
I think Wind Ranger's decent-ish in the lane. It's just, it's a poking hero, but it just doesn't do anything. It's like, unless you get a 2-hero shackle, it's like, you're an underfarmed focus fire hero. What good is that?
With no armor. Or, I mean, with no items, because you're not farming.
You're 4, yeah. There's so many weird Pos 4s I would rather have in my game than Wind Ranger, Pudge, or Rubick.
I feel like it can only work in really specific scenarios, because I'm remembering how there's been crit games where he's gone Windrunner 4 and got like a 4-minute javelin and done a crazy, but then it makes me think they've got draft synergy. Say, for example, say you had a 1 Razor or a 3 Razor, and it's like, okay, you pick a Windrunner literally so they can just shackle for a few seconds, and it enables you to get this Razor combo, right? Synergy, woo. But generally, I feel like the hero is just going to fall flat on its face with any other partnership, or with people that don't know Dota 2 heroes like the pros do. It's just going to crumble, I feel.
I would comfortably rather have a Pos 4 Zeus than a Pos 4 Rubick or Pos 4 Pudge, I think.
Really? Ooh.
Yeah, I actually think I'd rather have Pos 4 Zeus, I think.
Oh, that's uncomfortable.
It's hard to say, because Rubick is kind of a... Rubick's not exactly like a grief Pos 4. It's very common. But I do think Zeus 4 is not that bad.
Oh, I actually hate the idea of Zeus 4, because I think, what does it offer? It's purely magic damage. And I just think, why do I need this on my 4? Just give me lockdown and disable. That's what I want from my 4. Give me space and just mayhem, and I'll do the damage.
I do feel like you could. We're talking about first pick. If I see a Pos 4 Zeus, I can adjust to the fact that my Pos 4 is just dealing out a lot of magic damage. Whereas Rubick Pos 4, I don't know what I'm getting.
Yeah.
I'm getting like a weird guy that might be AFK farming with Fadebolt and might be... I don't know what Rubick does. It kind of sort of depends on spells in the game that are being stolen. He's sort of like a weird hero. He's just an int spellcaster in the back lines, I guess. Zeus at least has a big damage W, I don't know.
and Ags that can do something.
Yeah. Would you have Marco, would you rather have a first pick Pos 4 Rubick or Adam first picking Pos 4 Quap, his famous Pos 4 Quap?
I don't think... Have I seen that Pos 4 Quap?
We did a pod on Adam's Pos 4 Quap.
Yeah, I don't know if I played with it. I'd probably go with Adam. Come down with me.
Yeah, you can get in comms at least.
Yeah, comms makes so much difference. I've said, honestly, these games are losing solo ranked. Just give me a legend on comms, and it'll be better than these randoms. Honestly,
here's an interesting one. A final conundrum for you both.
Go on.
Would you rather a first pick Rubick, Pudge, or first pick Earth Spirit, but he's level 1 on Dota Plus?
Oof.
Ooh.
I'll Earth Spirit.
Earth Spirit, the level 1 Earth Spirit.
Yeah.
He might be better. He might have just got Dota Plus or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to say no, because I'm thinking, maybe they're still a high ranked player. But then I think if I played Earth Spirit, it's just not worth anyone's time. So,
ooh, I said that was the last one. I've got an interesting one. So take fun out of it. You have to win a game for like $1 million or something. So you're not thinking about what's fun and what's mentally enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
You're just thinking about pure winning. What about throw techies into the mix? POS 4 techies.
And I don't mind techies.
Is it like a techies pick or just an average pick player? Like not us.
It's the kind of person that picks techies.
Oh mate, get me techies.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer actually. Techies isn't bad. I was going to say techies as well because I don't think the hero's that bad in the right hands. I think it's pretty decent. You blow up a hero with mines. That's pretty value.
I mean, his win rate.
I've looked at it, and my QoP is 5-0. My support QoP. So
POS 4 QoP. Dust off the POS 4 QoP for Immortal. That's the final push.
5 times I played it. No, I think that's actually. I'd rather have a QoP than a Rubick in lane. She hits harder, and Shadow Strike's better.
Yeah.
I'm off Rubick. I hate that hero.
So much hate here. It feels bad.
What about POS 4 Invoker? Where's that in the hierarchy?
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that used to be a thing, didn't it?
Doesn't even need to have like you have 12 spells. You don't need to be a Rubick. Plus you have Cold Snap, Tornado, and an Urn. Yeah. So you can solo kill with just those two.
Well, there you go. I mean, that is a little bit of an overview of POS 4 in the meta as well as our games and other things. Any last thoughts on POS 4 or anything?
Just pick heroes that stun things, that provide something.
Yeah.
To like, don't be cute.
Pick
something. Lose games. You lose pubs from not having enough stuns. You never lose pubs from having too many stuns. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's on my bedroom wall.
Can I ask a final question? Mainly to Adam. So we've got Snapfire, Joke, good hero. Who's the next top 3 POS 4s you'd want to see picked first? Like first phase pick in your team?
Let me look at my matches.
Is this the debate where
Wyvern's quite good.
Wyvern strong.
Disruptor 4?
Yeah, Disruptor 4.
The pros have been playing Grimstroke again, but I don't see it in pubs.
I don't think it's good in pubs. It's too reliant on combos.
Yeah, too much synergy.
I'm clicking on all my Lich losses, and they're all Rubick 4s on my team. So, Enchantress 4 is great.
Ench 4, yeah.
Ench 4.
Ench 4. Me and Adam, we got destroyed by an Ench 4, didn't we, in that game? Or I did anyway. That game we played yesterday. Yes.
I'd be happy to see Shaker, Nyx.
Spirit Breaker is amazing.
Phoenix is up there for me. I love Phoenix 4 on my team. Feels so good.
Yeah, Phoenix is a cool hero.
I think Spirit Breaker's back. Just charging through stuff.
Oh, actually, we didn't speak about Clock, and I feel like I've seen a lot of Clock.
Oh, yeah, he's strong.
Yeah, Clock's decent. Clock's very decent.
See, and what do all those do? They're super annoying. They run at people, and they, with the exception of Phoenix, is a little bit more finesse, but it's a lot of damage, and can at least protect yourself.
Phoenix is very disruptive, though.
They're all disruptive.
Yeah.
We don't need if I align myself correctly and I shackle shot these two heroes together, it's like, no, I pressed Q on the guy in the back, and I just charged through all the other people and stunned them, and then I ran away, and we won. That's all you need to do. I would just say, Nyx, Winter Wyvern, Disruptor, Tiny,
Shaker,
and
Tiny's kind of dead now.
Tiny's kind of dead, but I'll never be upset if I see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's not. You know what it does something. And stuff.
Yeah. I know at least they're thinking about it. They might want to win as much as I do.
I've had 2 POS 4 Monkey Kings in the last few days, and it's awful.
That's old school.
Yeah. That's old school, and it's terrible. So we don't need to say anything more on that. What about a Skywrath? I don't mind seeing a Skywrath 4 just picked on my team.
Yeah, if they rush the Atos and just...
Yeah, they're just so annoying, just spamming Q in lane and stuff. Oh my god.
They're just soloing carries at level 8 at minute 12. Very cool. Basically, don't pick Yapsor. Is what in my pub games.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying, because he plays all the cool, finesse, greedy heroes, and I don't think that works for Secret because they have Zai and Puppy. But
yeah, It's funny you mentioned that because I'm on a DotA buff game because I was just looking through like when do pros pick Rubick, and the first one I clicked on is a team secret victory where Yaps was playing Rubick. He's 9-2. He has the most kills on his team. So how many of them are Fade Bolt KSs? Probably like 8. He has 400 GPM and he has Aether at 11, BOTs at 16, and 4-staff at 21. So that's like POS 4, but actually POS 3, 2.5.
And what's Zai playing?
Zai is playing Legion Commander in that game.
Yeah.
Alina mid as well, which is quite tempo. Anyway. Snapshot of POS 4. Got through some heroes, not all of them. Next week, I don't know what we'll be talking about. Maybe mid. We thought about talking about mid this episode. I'm always privy to that, so we'll have to see.
Any suggestions? Throw them in.
Yeah, definitely. Throw them into the Discord. But until then, we'll see you shortly.
GG.